you stuck in the DFS cash bubble? Can't quite figure out how to take that leap toward profitable results? Most of us don't have the time needed to keep up on all the news and stats necessary to be a successful player at daily fantasy sports, or the patience to read complicated spreadsheets and charts needed to make informed decisions. That's why at Run Pure Sports, we've simplified the lineup building process to help you create competitive teams. Our content team consists of some of the biggest names in the DFS industry, including BigT, Hoop2410, JSURab, AP, Draft Cheat, Mangone, and much more. Our contributors dominate the leaderboards in both tournament and cash game formats. These players provide you their top plays on a given slate in an easy-to-use format. In our core plays tool, our experts provide you with the players they'll be targeting the most on a given slate. These core plays give you the foundation you need to create competitive lineups. Our playbook is an easy-to-read guide to each slate, which will also help you make informed decisions. Our new cash game chart features the top plays on a given slate provided by our cash game pros Hoop2410 and Mangone. We've got a page dedicated exclusively to DFS single game content. It's headed up by BigT, one of the top Showdown and MVP players in the world. Ask our experts and fellow premium members directly for lineup advice in our Discord channel, where our members have benefited by winning some of the biggest cash prizes across the DFS landscape. In our premium videos and articles, our experts lay out their favorite plays and strategies for a given slate designed to guide you towards profitability.
Sell me on Aaron Rodgers. You don't need to sell me on Aaron Rodgers because I trust your opinion, but come on, sell me.
So I think this year he's going to come in. He's going to selfishly try and throw as many touchdowns as possible. I think he's going to be a guy who, at the end of the year, we're talking about as an MVP candidate.
Plus, check out our tiers, stack charts, slate plan, projections, and much more to help you make your lineup building decisions. So what are you waiting for? Sign up today at runpuresports.com to gain access at an affordable price. And for just a small added fee, you can also subscribe to our sports betting content on our bet site. Thanks for watching, and keep running pure.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the Run Pure Sports Hardwood show for some Friday night NBA action. We have a loaded up 7-game NBA slate with, as always, a lot of injury news. It's going to kind of push us to one team that we'll talk about as we break down this full slate. But it's Friday, and that means one thing. Me and Big T are joined by our boy, AP. How's it going, AP?
It's going good. I mean, it's, we got the players on. We got, a nice 7-game slate. I feel like this slate kind of, it feels very, easy, very like the plays just came right to me. So I always like those slates because it just, actually Big T says it best. It feels like one of those where a lot of good plays, you just plug them in, and it seems like it might be a very easy night to get into the green.
Yeah, it kind of seems like a don't get too cute sort of night. Big T, is that kind of what you're thinking, or are you seeing this a little differently?
Yeah, no, it definitely looks like one of those slates where everything pops out. And, yeah, it's a matter of how to get different almost. And I don't know. That's going to be kind of the hard part just because everything looks so clear. But I think we can find some stuff as we go through.
Yeah, I mean – definitely be able to find some little edges as the slate goes on. There's one specific spot I'm curious to get your guys' take on in terms of GPPs, but we'll get there eventually. As always, we ask that you hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Helps us to continue to bring these shows for free. So like, subscribe, helps us out a ton. Also, before we get started, we were joking a few weeks ago, maybe about a month ago. Our boy Sean Nizzle in the chat made a couple comments about getting an RPS tattoo. I believe he made the comment that we started joking around. I was like, oh, don't get the RPS, get Tony's face tattooed on your ass or something. Well, come to find out, our boy Sean Nizzle pulled the trigger, I think today it looked like, and got the RPS logo tattooed on the upper shoulder blade or upper shoulder right up here. So shout out to Sean Nizzle if he is here in the chat. Let me pull this up. Not seeing him in there yet, but oh yeah, there he is. Yep. So he got the tattoo. We're gonna have to obviously do something special for him. Not Tony's face tattooed on his ass, but the RPS logo. Big T, how do you feel about that?
I feel a lot better about the logo than my face. I'll tell you that much. And yeah, you love to see it. I mean, it looked good on his arm too. I'll say that. We also had our lady Lindsay Kelly yesterday chopping down a tree or something out front in the video. So we got loyal troops. You love to see it.
Lindsay tied the rope to the tree and just backed that Jeep right up and pulled that sucker right out of the ground. That was pretty impressive.
So, hey, real quick, we got K Fallick in chat. I've always, I've been trying to figure out what's a good name for my play of the day. Something about Mary hair gel play of the day. I like it. I approve of that.
That's where we're going.
I always got the hair gel in, man.
Yeah, I was going to go with last time you're on, I think it was the no bush play of the day or something because the topic of bush. But yeah, something about Mary hair gel play of the day. That's going to be it. But you know what? I don't know if you tuned in yesterday, but we failed to get there, so that we went without the plays. Unfortunately, I think we can do a little bit better today. It's Friday.
They would have got it. You know what was coming yesterday too? If they would have got it, was Mr. Kevin Porter Jr. and his 40 piece or whatever he put up there. So they missed out on that.
It was unfortunate, but that was the play too. And ownership was low. I mean, because I think it was in that late game, a lot of uncertainty around him. As the night went on, it was obvious that he became a much better play, but a lot of people didn't save the spot for him because we had an 11-game slate. What was his ownership in GPPs?
He wasn't owned. I mean, 10% or something.
No, he was in the whatever. He was like 30%, I thought. I had him in everything.
Really?
I mean, in whatever I was looking, he was. Maybe I was looking in like single entry. I don't know. I mean, I could be wrong. Sure.
Anyhow, I mean, the play was great. Obviously, slate winning play. Unfortunately, tonight the ownership is going way up on Mr. Porter Jr. Unfortunately, the price did not change on DK. He's sitting at 3.2. On FanDuel 4.9, but I mean, to me, still he looked good. I mean, really, really good, aggressive. Had the ball in his hands a lot. But all right, well, anything else before we hop into this? You guys ready?
Ready to roll.
All right, let's do this. The number for likes is going to remain at 500. I mean, doing a good job so far. We're at about 150 with 350 people watching. So make sure to continue to hit that like button and subscribe button throughout the show. First game on the slate is the Nuggets and the Grizzlies. 229 total. Denver favored by 3 in this game. And the first thing that stands out to me when looking at this game and kind of looking at projections and some other stuff, there is not many plays from this game that are either A, being talked about, or B, showing up high in projections. We have a guy like Nikola Jokic, phenomenal season. More people appear to be looking to Joel Embiid without Ben Simmons tonight. So I think we get this spot, Tony, that you've talked about a ton. I mean, you've been on the spot a ton where, Jokic at not necessarily low ownership, but lower ownership than he should have. I think that is the case again tonight, just due to this Embiid situation. Embiid has just been absolutely smashing with Ben Simmons off the court, and that's the situation he's going to find himself in tonight. So Jokic ownership should be low. And then on the Memphis side, no one's really popping up. Valanciunas coming off a monster game last time out as well. So Tony, talk to me about the Jokic situation. Is that a pivot that you're looking to make? Embiid to Jokic, and then anything for you on the Grizzlies side?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think you could even play both of them on a site like DK, the way they pop out. I like Jokic more than Embiid. I don't know. I just trust him more. I trust his role. I trust what he's going to do. I trust that the spot is good. I mean, Embiid's good too. I'd love to play them both if I can. And I mean, they're both in great spots. We've had this a ton of times too, like you said, where they're both on the slate. You have to choose. One of them gets 60, 70. The other one maybe gets 50, 60. Both great plays. You have to decide. I lean Jokic just a little bit, but Embiid definitely is going to project better, look better against this Washington team. I mean, both games are close spreads too, high totals. you basically get everything you could want with it. And I want to see who's in. Guys, God, I enjoyed the Nuggets so much without freaking Millsap and JaMychal Green. I like JaMychal Green more than Millsap, but I like this team so much more when they play MPJ at the 4, and they were looking great going. I think they won 4 or 5 straight on the road going into the break, I'm pretty sure. And it was all with MPJ at the 4, which made them basically like the old Warriors team, where not that good. I'm not comparing it, but where they go with that death lineup. MPJ was the cheat code for them at the 4. I just know how Malone is. He always does this crap, and all of a sudden he'll put him back to the 3 and not play him, and Millsap's going to get this run, and it's just super annoying. So I want to see how that plays out. Memphis, though, is a pretty clear fade for me with this game as well.
Yeah, I mean, with Millsap, Millsap and JaMychal Green are officially listed as questionable tonight, and obviously that would be a downgrade. Basically all these guys, but Jokic just having such a phenomenal season. I think you definitely have to look him up regardless of the status of Millsap and JaMychal Green. I don't know. I think the Grizzlies side is somewhat interesting too. I mean, we saw a lot in the first half. This Nuggets team just kind of playing down to their competition and letting the competition dictate how these games are played. Grizzlies have some guys that can get there. I mean, Morant has had some big games. Valanciunas, like I said. AP, what's your interest level here in Jokic, and then anything else on the Grizzlies side that might stand out for you?
Yeah, I mean, I'm like 95% confident that I'm playing both Jokic and Embiid on the slate on DraftKings. I think they're the two best plays, and I love that BigT likes Jokic more because I feel very confident in Embiid tonight against the Wizards. I think he's just going to smash. But, on the thing about the Grizzlies, they're a very deep team. The only guy that I think could log heavy minutes is maybe Dylan Brooks and then probably John Morant. But Dylan Brooks chasing around Jamal Murray, locking him up. So that kind of takes Murray out of play for me. And then what's great about the Nuggets is I just, like Big T says all the time, I feel very confident locking in Nikola Jokic, and he's going to get everyone involved. We lock him in, he's going to have his hand in everything, and I feel very good about that. I don't need to play anyone else on the Nuggets side. We have a ton of value later on the slate. I don't need to force a run back either. I think the guy maybe is Dylan Brooks, but I think we have plays later on the slate that are way cheaper that will allow me to fit a few studs into my lineups. And, I just play Jokic and kind of move on. That's probably the stance I'm going to take on this game.
Yeah, and with all the value we have, I guess on FanDuel where you can only play one center, I think the discrepancy will be much wider in the ownership between Embiid and Jokic. It's a $1,000 difference in price. Embiid's $1,000 cheaper. I think there'll be a huge discrepancy in ownership between the two on there. On DK, it's very easy to just go ahead and play both, and that could end up being a popular route. So you might have to look to differentiate yourself in some different ways. All right, we'll head on over to the next game. We have the 76ers and the Wizards, 234.5 total. Philadelphia favored by 4.5 in this game. And obviously the big news here is no Ben Simmons for the 76ers. And another piece of news that we're waiting on, which could be slate changing news, is Bradley Beal is questionable. And, we already know what we can expect on the 76ers side without Ben Simmons. Big boost to Joel Embiid, big boost to Tobias Harris. Busted last night, but not because he didn't play well. Turned into a blowout in the fourth quarter. The bench for the 76ers just absolutely laid it on the Bulls. So those two obviously get big bumps. They will be pretty highly owned. Wouldn't be surprised to see someone like Seth Curry have a big game here, maybe Shake Milton. There's going to be opportunities for those guys. But on the Wizards side, I mean, if Westbrook and Beal are in, it's the same stance, that we've had on the show almost all season long. When both those guys are in, it's hard to really play anyone else except those two guys. I mean, nobody has stepped in and solidified themselves as the third guy on this team from an offensive standpoint. However, that would change quite a bit if Beal is, for some reason, ruled out in this game. Westbrook would become a very, very strong play, and then we could start looking to some of these secondary guys as well on the Washington Wizards. I'm going to go to you first, AP. What are you doing with Harris, Embiid, and then maybe any other 76ers that you have interest in, and then talk about the Wizards situation?
Yeah, I mean, if Beal gets ruled out, I'm going to be playing around with the idea of just playing Westbrook, Embiid, and Jokic. I mean, it's going to be very popular, but I feel very confident about cashing going that route. So, like in tournaments, you're going to have to figure out how to get different. But I don't see how you fade Westbrook if Beal's out. He's going to, all the entire offense is going to run through him. He's going to have to score a bunch of points. He's going to get rebounds, assists, all of that. And he doesn't have to worry about Ben Simmons' defense. Seth Curry defense has been not good at all. Danny Green is really old. Not worried about him at all either. And then I just think Joel Embiid is going to, have his way with this Wizards team. One of the interesting things that I just looked up while I was doing the playbook today is Embiid, actually with Simmons out, Embiid's averaged almost like 2 fantasy points per minute. So give him a fast-paced matchup against a small Wizards team. I don't see how he doesn't put up a big number. So for me, it is clearly Embiid. I don't even feel the need to play any other 76ers guy. Like Curry's fine, but I think we have better plays. I'm not playing Danny Green. He could beat me, but I don't know. I've been way more tilted by playing him than not playing him at all. Tobias Harris, he's 8'3". I don't feel the need to play him at all. He could definitely produce in this matchup. I don't feel the need to play him when Embiid is in there. So for me, it's just very easily Embiid. And then we wait for the Wizards news. And luckily it's an 8 Eastern game. So we'll get that news right away. So we'll know exactly what to do with these early games.
Yeah, very good point. I mean, 8 Eastern, we have 3 games tipping off, and that's almost half the slate. So we'll have a big chunk of the news at that point. Throw it to you, Big T, thoughts here on the 76ers Wizards game.
Yeah, I mean, you guys basically covered it perfectly. I mean, Embiid is good. Embiid is one of those guys that I think is an interesting fade when he's mega chalk, because he just has these games where he doesn't necessarily try as hard. He kind of coasts, or he just does. He passes, he lumbers. He just doesn't look like he's trying. Again, I'm not saying he's a bad play. I'll probably play him on my main team with Jokic, just like AP said. It is an interesting leverage fade, though. When he's right out of the gate, everyone's going to play him. And you got Jokic as a guy, especially on FanDuel, where you could play over him. Great play. I could make a case to fade for sure. And then Washington, like you guys said, we got to wait on the Beal news. If Beal's in, I still like Westbrook every time, basically. He's just been crushing now that he got his legs under him. If Beal's out, I mean, you have to play Westbrook. I don't really see how. I would probably play him over both centers even if I had to choose. Obviously, you don't have to choose with the value we have, but it's tough not to. Like, if Beal's out, everyone is going to play Westbrook and Embiid, which does give you some leverage. I mean, what if it blows out? What if this happens, that happens? Tons of stuff can happen in the NBA, but I mean, everyone's going to play him for a good reason. So Mo Wagner's a decent cheap play, I think. He does have some risk, but he's a big body that can bang a little bit with Embiid. 3,300, and we've seen a couple decent games for that cheap price tag. So don't hate him as far as just a cheap punt guy.
The only issue I have with your breakdown there is that you just said that Wagner can bang with Embiid. That's you got to retract that. You got to go ahead and retract that statement, and then we can move on.
He can.
He can. He says he can.
Yeah.
No
love
chance.
That physical brand of
yeah. Well, not with Mr. Embiid. That is not going to end well for Mr. Wagner. I'll tell you that much. Before we move on to the next game, right around the corner here, we have MLB starting up about 2-3 weeks right around the corner. And, our MLB product, we're very excited about it. We've been working on making some minor changes and tweaks to what we offered last year to make it better for our members. As always, I talk about it on the show all the time, the way we're different than all these other DFS content sites. One price for everything on our site. MLB starting in 2 weeks. If you're a member at Run Pure Sports, you don't have to pay any additional money to get our MLB content. And, in this industry, that's very rare. All our competitors, MLB starting, you're going to have to pay them another probably $250, $300, maybe $350 at Run Pure Sports. One price, Gets you absolutely everything on our site. $80 a month. You can use the promo code. We're going to bring it back until baseball starts. Workbench 21. If you want to use that, 25% off your first payment at Run Pure Sports. You can give it a try. Everything on the website, one price. Check it out. All right, let's hop into this next game. Cleveland and New Orleans, 228 total. Pelicans favored by 7. And man, the Pelicans were quite the letdown last night against the Timberwolves. Got absolutely spanked by about 30 points in a spot where they should have pretty much dominated, and it was not pretty for them. Appears to be a good bounce back spot for them at home here against the Cavs. On the Cavs side, very difficult from a DFS perspective because Kevin Love could potentially be back, and that would kind of throw everything off for them. Darius Garland is also questionable. So this is 8 p.m. Eastern game as well. We should have the news. If both those guys are in, I have virtually no interest in the Cleveland side whatsoever. If both those guys are out, Colin Sexton, I think, becomes an interesting play. Maybe Jared Allen. If one's in, one's out, moderate boost to the guys that are playing. But overall, as it stands now, I think both guys are in. Not much interest in the Cavs for me. On the Pelicans side, you expect it to be a good bounce back spot here for them after getting embarrassed by the Timberwolves. I mean, what a dream start to the second half of the season. You get the Timberwolves and the Cavs back to back. I mean, you got to be licking your chops if you're the Pelicans, thinking, all right, 2-0 start here after the All-Star break. Not the case. Like I said, they got smoked last night by the Timberwolves. Should bounce back here from a DFS perspective. The same guys are in play. Ingram is still under 8K on FanDuel. I think he's a strong play over there. Zion right around 9K on both sites. I expect him to bounce back in a big way tonight. Those are the two guys I'm kind of targeting in this game. Go to you first, Big T. Any interest in the Cavs? Kind of break down that the injury situation there with Kevin Love and Garland being questionable. And then on the Pelicans side, I know you're on Zion last night. You're going to go back to him tonight?
Oh, man, and Zion. So we did the show yesterday. I wasn't really on him because I just didn't love the price tag, and I didn't think and then just as I built my teams, he just kept fitting perfectly. It was one of those things where he just fit the build where I wanted to go, and man, he let me down big time. Hurt my feelings because had some good teams. You weren't going to win with Zion, though. It just, you can't have your dude get 30 when you need him to get 50. It's just not going to happen. So, yeah, great spot tonight. I do feel obligated to come right back with him a little bit against this Cleveland team. But the issue I have is the same issue I had yesterday where, for one, we got the other studs that we already talked about that are better plays, obviously, just on the surface. But two, it's the price tag. I mean, he just – I don't like him as much at 9,100 because – I mean, let me pull up his things again from yesterday. He just hasn't got – so for the longest time, he was 8K, and we were saying he'd get 40 every night. Now he's 9K. He really hasn't got more than 50 ever as you look at all his box scores. If a dude doesn't get more than 50 and he's 9K, there just isn't upside there. Like, there just isn't. So I'm not going to let myself talk myself back into it tonight. I'm just clicking the X button on him. I don't even want to get tempted. Like, don't even tempt me, Zion. Yesterday, you hurt my feelings.
Just one question, though. I mean, this slate is a little bit different in the fact that we don't have a ton of high upside guys. Does that, maybe change things a little bit? Or
it just hurts when you got the two centers who are similar, and then Westbrook. I mean, I consider those guys basically the same. I mean, 10K, 9K. I still want 60 from those guys, and I don't know. I mean, I just can't pay. Don't let me do it. From now on, every time we do a show, if Zion's 9K, just say no, Big T. You're not allowed to play freaking Zion.
We've been fighting the Zion thing all season. All season
long.
Don't let
me do it. Chat,
we've been fighting it.
Don't let us do it, chat. If we ever try to talk ourselves into Zion at 9,100, just say no.
He's got to get a matching Sean Nizzle tattoo if he plays Zion again.
I should say that just so I can't freaking play it. Because 9,100, you can't pay me unless it's just a slate like Hoop said, where you want the floor and you want the 45. If you want 45, play Zion. If you want 60, don't play Zion. So that's how I break it down. Any
interest in this Cavs team here?
Cleveland. I just look at this roster. They got like 14 dudes. I mean, I'm just gonna, like AP said to start the show, Make things simple. I've tried to do it all year, and I think it's worked good. Don't overcomplicate the slate. There's so many dudes. Yeah, maybe one of them crushes. Who knows? But so many dudes, just X them out.
Yeah. All right, we'll go to you, AP. Any interest here in the Cavs? I mean, with so many teams on the slate, with injuries and whatnot, it's just really hard to invest in these Cavs, assuming Love and Garland do indeed play. And then any interest in Zion, Brandon Ingram, or anyone else on the Pelican side for you?
No, I mean, I feel like we have two clear fade spots on the slate. This is one of them. And it comes down to price. Like, I wish DraftKings in spots like this would make Colin Sexton like 7K, 7-1, make him at least a little bit more interesting. 8-1, I don't know. If he beats me, he beats me. I'm not going to play him. And with, Kevin Love could get 15 minutes tonight. Larry Nance could get 18. They have a lot of bodies. And so I'm not going to go there. And then the Pelicans are healthy. They have a ton of bodies and they're all priced up. Easy fade for me. I don't think I'll have a single player from this game on any of my builds tonight.
Yeah, I think I am potentially with it. Changes for me a little bit when you go over to FanDuel, where you have to play the two small forwards, you have to play the two power forwards. I think they're a little bit.
The Zion on FanDuel. He always pops on FanDuel at 77. He never gets there for me.
He never does. Honestly, he should probably be like a mid 6K player, like the way he's performed this season. And he sucks. He really does.
Those two guys, can we just delete New Orleans from our lives? Man, they frustrate me.
They are tilted. It is so damn. They're going off too. They're going to combine for 120 fantasy points.
Zion's going to get 65. And you're going to get 50.
It is so damn painful. Just a reminder, guys, make sure you're hitting that like button, hitting the subscribe button helps us to continue to bring you guys these shows for free. After us, we have JSU and Holden on the final countdown, taking you guys up to lock, answering any questions that you may have, and breaking down any news that potentially may break up to lock. So head on over to Rumpier Sports and check out JSU and Holden on the final countdown. I believe they're going at 7:15 Eastern tonight. So get on over there and check that out. Next game, we have the Heat. We have the Bulls, 221 total. Miami favored by 2 in this game. No Bam Adebayo for the Heat again tonight. And last night that led to good things for some of these Heat guys. Jimmy Butler, big game. Kelly Olynyk, really big game. Kelly Olynyk played 35 minutes and got you about 38 fantasy points, and it's more than enough at his price tag. Still really cheap on FanDuel, but the problem is center is a very loaded position. Luckily on DK, he has power forward eligibility as well. Like I said, Jimmy Butler, big game last night, 60 fantasy points. He is now he's 9.2 on DK, I believe 9.6 on FanDuel, so better price tag on DK opposed to FanDuel. On the Bulls side of things, we talked about it yesterday. They're getting close to full strength, and they kind of have all these guys, all these bodies. A similar situation. Big T, said with the Cavs, it looks like they have 14 guys. When I look at this Bulls roster, it looks like they have 14 guys. So I don't see myself really playing any Chicago Bulls tonight. The two guys I do like in this game are obviously Olynyk and Butler. I'll throw it to you first, AP. What's your interest level in, Butler, Olynyk? And then am I missing anything on the Chicago side?
Yeah, this is going to be kind of the theme breaking this down. But why force it? This is just another game especially on the Bulls side. They have so many bodies now. They have more bodies than the Pelicans and the Cavs, and they have an extremely deep rotation. Thad Young is always getting around 22 minutes. It's taken away from Wendell Carter. Marketing is back. Patrick Williams is always in there getting around 31 minutes. Levine is in there. Now he was getting 38 minutes for a while, but that's when they didn't have a lot of bodies. Now they have a lot of bodies. And, I think he's been around 30, 32 to actually 28 to 34. So I'm not paying almost 10K for why would you ever pay 9.6 for Levine? when you could play, even if Beal plays, you could play Beal or Westbrook for almost the same price. Makes no sense. I mean, you could play Kobe White. I don't see it. I think I'm going to make this slate very easy for myself. The Bulls are a complete fade for me. I mean, when I was doing the playbook, I was trying to throw something out there, but I mean, I got maybe 20 some plays on the playbook today, and it's like, it's just what it is. And so, and I feel very good about that. I think on the Bulls or on the Heat side, Kelly O on DraftKings, I don't think he's a must play at all at 5'7". I hope people chase that. I will gladly fade a chalky Kelly Olynyk at 5'7". It's a different case if he's like 4'8" or 4'9". A completely different case for sure. It is a good matchup, but like I don't think it's like an incredible matchup for Kelly O. If he was like an athletic big, I would have far more interest against a kind of a weak Bulls front court that is a little bit better with Wendell Carter. I think it's Jimmy Butler. If you need to go there, they're on a back-to-back. I'm going to see. So like my play tonight is let's get this Beal news because if he's out, there's absolutely no way I can play Jimmy Butler over Westbrook, and they're fairly similar in price. And otherwise, maybe if you're multi-entering and you want a play, Tyler Hero is finally starting to look a little bit better, but they're not giving him over 30 minutes. So it's kind of a concern for me, but his price tag is low. That's probably about as deep as I would get on this team outside of Jimmy Butler.
Yeah, I like that breakdown there. Bulls just tough team, and we talk about it all the time. Like it's a certain teams we need injuries or we need guys to sit to really take a look at some of their players, and I think that's the case at least for me with the Bulls moving forward. I'm going to need to see some guys out before I can invest in these Bulls, and the price tags aren't even all that good when you look at them. Like you said, the 9.6 on Levine, that's crazy to me. Like there's no way I could click that name. Big T, we'll throw it over to you. I mean, are you seeing this thing any differently than me and AP?
Before I even break into it, like usual, I got to get in the chat. K Phallic says, Big T checking in on the birds and the sunroofs. He saw me looking up at my TV. You know what I was doing, AP? I was looking for Frankie Molinari. Is he out there? K Phallic's boy. How's he doing? Oh, K Phallic. I was looking for him on you. But back to the game. Zach LaVine, it's basically Zion for me. Sometimes maybe it's just because we're in a good rhythm right now with these shows and the content we're putting out at Run Pure, but it just feels so easy. Like, why in the world would you pay, just like AP said, why would you pay $9,600 for Zach LaVine? If he gets 65 and beats me, my thinking has changed over the years too. Like I used to think like if Zach LaVine got me high 40s, I was happy. The problem is I just don't think he has that 60-something in him, and I want that 60-something in him for $9,600. I think just to add on to that, I think it's the way the NBA has changed. Like 2 years ago in NBA DFS, if you're playing a guy at 9.5K and he goes out there and gets you 45, 46, 47 fantasy points, you're probably good. In this day and age, that's no longer good. These guys are putting up some monster scores night in and night out. So you're not looking for these 5X, 6X multipliers. You're straight up looking for guys that can go get you 60, 65 fantasy points. You at least have to know they have a chance. Like you have to feel decent about that. Like just for example, I mean, in the same game, you got LaVine 9,600, Jimmy Butler 9,200. Jimmy Butler has a 62, a 59, a 62, a 65. All in his last 10 games. So he's got 5 games over 60. That's exactly what I'm looking for. And he's cheaper than LaVine. And I don't know how you could possibly play LaVine over Jimmy Butler at a cheaper price. And honestly, Jimmy Butler's a good play. I haven't played him. I think me and Hoop talked about this maybe a week or two ago, where he keeps being a good play and we keep not playing him and he keeps crushing.
Yeah, it's very true.
I don't think I've played him at all, and he literally just keeps getting 60s. And tonight, he gets a great matchup versus the Bulls. He'll probably get another 60, and I probably won't play him again, which just is crazy. So I think he's a really good play. He's small forward on FanDuel, right? Like he's the type of play at 9,600 on FanDuel. Like you can come off Ingram, like everyone plays a guy like Ingram, go up to Jimmy Butler, who won't be that popular because of the price tag. And when Jimmy Butler gets you like 60 on FanDuel, you're just so minted. You're just so mint. When Ingram gets you 35 and Jimmy gets you 65, you are just freaking mint over everybody that played Ingram.
Little revenge too against the Bulls, former team. He seems like a vengeful person as well.
Connor in the chat says, when will Lee Westwood go? Well, we talked on the golf. Like, Westwood's always been a ball striker. He might lose the putter like Sergio did today, but Westwood's always been a ball striker. He's not going to suddenly just start shanking shots. He just can't putt.
Yeah, he's looked good the last 2 weeks. And
speaking of if
Frankie Molinari doesn't birdie the last hole, I'm gonna punch my computer.
Now you're calling him Frankie Molinari.
I meant to say Matsuyama. If Hideki doesn't birdie this last,
he's missed like every 10-foot putt he's had. It's been a joke.
The show's over when he misses this 24-foot birdie putt.
How about Sergio closing his eyes as he putts? You're leading the tournament.
2-footers, he might want to open them back up.
Yeah, today he definitely needed to open those suckers back up. Man, it was not pretty. That was a bad. That might have been inside 2 feet. That was a tiny little guy.
The worst I've ever seen that thing. And then he had to make the next one that was just the same length, and I was like, don't miss another one.
Yeah, coming right back. All right, just a reminder, we still have that partnership going with Monkey Knife Fight. If you go to Monkey Knife Fight, you type in promo code RUNPEER, you get up to a $50 match on your deposit immediately. So in addition to that, we have a Discord channel dedicated to Monkey Knife Fight picks and plays for basically every single sport. So head on over to Monkey Knife Fight, use that promo code RUNPEER to get a $50 match on your $50 deposit. Next game, Magic Spurs 214 total. Spurs favored by 7.5, and a lot of injury news in this game. On the Orlando side, no Terrence Ross, no Evan Fournier, no Aaron Gordon, no James Ennis. On the San Antonio side, dusty ass LaMarcus Aldridge is basically done until they find a trading partner. I can't imagine any team would want LaMarcus Aldridge at this point, but we'll see. DeMar DeRozan is also out with personal reasons, so he is out as well. So tons of injury news in this game. The Orlando Magic are going to be very, very thin. The price tags for these Magic guys are better, much better price tags on FanDuel opposed to DK. We have Michael Carter-Williams on DK 6'3". On FanDuel, he's 4'9". Vooch over 10K on DK, under 10K on FanDuel. On the Spurs side, all these guys are going to get a big boost. DeJounte Murray, big boost. Derek White, big boost. You could take a look at some guys like Lonnie Walker, Keldon Johnson, Patty Mills, a ton of plays here in this game. Not really sure, what we're looking at in terms of ownership. I think the Houston spot, which we're going to talk about next, is going to carry most of the ownership on this slate. We'll go to you first, Big T. How are you handling, the plethora of injuries in this game here?
So I always have takes like this, and that's partly why people like the shows, because I literally don't understand the Spurs, why people like them. Like DeJounte Murray, why is he projected for 42 points? Like, I don't understand. Like, explain it to me. Like, I literally don't get it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's a slam dunk. The projections on the Spurs, I agree with you. I don't think they're slam dunk spots because we've seen it all the time with Popovich. He'll play these random ass dudes that we've never heard of. Like, he has no problem doing that.
Derek White is back, right? Like, Derek White is
Derek White's in there, yep. Man.
I wish I could make a bet that like his projection is like 42. Like his projection, that means like that's an average outcome. I would where can I bet on under 42? Like, are you kidding? 42 points for DeJounte Murray? No way.
Yeah.
I literally don't understand it. Like, I would much rather play 4,900 for Derek White and get, maybe he's not as good, but he's freaking 2,600 cheaper than DeJounte Murray. I mean, obviously I'm not the best cash player, chalky type player, but it literally doesn't make sense to me. So I couldn't even imagine paying that. I mean, 6K for Podol. Keldon Johnson, 4,800. I keep trying to make him happen. I mean, his last 3 games, 17, 16, 13. he's going to be pretty chalky. I just don't get it. I don't get the Spurs. AP, you're a tournament player like me. I mean, what is the deal with the Spurs? Tell me why these dudes are getting the love they're getting.
I mean, I'm kind of with you. I don't know. I'm not like, for me, it's like if Derek White was out and DeRozan was out, sure, DeJounte Murray is far more interesting. If I had to play one of them, I'd much rather play Derek White and take the price discount over Murray. Outside of that, they still have a lot of bodies. Rudy Gay has been getting run off the bench. You got Patty Mills that always comes in and steals usage away. So, like, for me, it's one of those spots I'm not forcing any of them in. I do have some interest in Derek White, some interest in Keldon Johnson, but I don't feel confident about those guys at all. I mean, Keldon Johnson, we don't even know what his minutes are going to look like. It's been quite some time since we've seen 30 plus from him. And like you guys said, Pop can do all kinds of stuff. I don't really see how the Magic keep this one close. I think like the Spurs second unit could come out and play really well. And what's going to happen if they do that? Pop's going to let them play more minutes. That means more Patty Mills, more Devin Vassell, more Rudy Gay. I just think there's a lot that could happen here. And I don't see myself, forcing any of the guys in on the Spurs side.
Yeah, I mean the only guys I'd look at, I think, are price point plays like big. This isn't a spot where I'm looking to spend, and I agree with like the DeJounte Murray call. Like Derek White is cheap. He's 4.9 on DK. I think he's an adequate play. He's 5.4 on FanDuel. I don't hate that price tag either. It's just a weird spot to me. What do you guys think about the Magic side? I mean, does anything stand out to you? I mean, the problem is you're looking at some dusty guys. I mean, you got obviously Vucevic is a great fantasy performer, but outside of that, the rest of this roster is just garbage. Anything stand out to you guys? Like I said, Michael Carter Williams 4.9 on FanDuel. I think he's a strong play there. Tony, anything on the Magic side?
Yeah, I mean, MCW is the weird one. So I've talked all year how I've used the optimizer more and more. He's the guy that just always pops on FanDuel for sure with the price tag. I mean, 4,900. But the weird thing is he doesn't get that much ownership for a guy that's crazy mispriced. Like last 3 games, 13, 12, 15 shots. He's a guy that can get a bunch of assists and peripherals too. He's gone 38, 44, 31 the last 3 games. He's just mispriced. So I think you have to consider him on FanDuel. And then the problem is on DK, yeah, these guys are super dusty, but man, they're min price dusty, 3K. And it's tough to like Chess and Randall, even Mo Bamba at 3K, even though you're not going to play a center tonight. I mean, if you're playing 150 or something, we've seen Mo Bamba go for 30 in one of those games I watched where he was just crushing in there. But yeah, I mean, you can play Chase and Randall, especially at 31, Okiki at 32. These guys are just so cheap that if this game blows out too, you could get a lot of blowout run from these guys that, like, I'm never going to pay 42 for Bacon. I mean, he's the same play as the cheap guys. Vooch, you can't play Vooch tonight, even though he could. I mean, they're projecting him to be 20% owned. There's no freaking way. But the cheap guys for me, and MCW on FanDuel.
Yeah. AP, any of these Magic guys stand out to you?
Yeah, I mean, we got, what's his name? Vucevic? Is that what we call him? Vucevic?
Yes, Vucevic.
I need to do a show with JT Hayes because I pronounce the names correctly. We got one of them later on the slate. We got Brogdon on the slate, so I'm excited to talk about him. Vucevic, though, I mean, I got him ranked behind Embiid and Joker. I'm not going to play him, but if you want to get different, going the paint up for 2 centers, I think that's the way to do it. Maybe you play Joker and Vucevic. Outside of that, like, I don't know, I kind of like Okiki. Like this guy, you need him to get the peripheral stats. You need him to get the blocks, steals, rebounds, but he's kind of all over. He's an athletic guy. And then Randall, I mean, 3-1. Like, that's kind of where I'm going. I'm not playing Gary Clark. He doesn't do anything at all. I'm not playing Aminu. So for me, it's Okiki and Randall. And I'm telling you guys, like, You guys are going to know exactly what my build looks like tonight. I'm just keeping it very, very simple.
It's Friday, and we're gonna, I think a lot of people are slowly returning to NBA after the All-Star break. The 500 likes doesn't look realistic today. The numbers are a little lower. Like I said, I think people are still sleeping from that All-Star break. Get us to 400. We'll cut it. Is that all right, Tony? 400?
Yeah, we're going into the weekend. I mean, it is tough. We got high expectations, and we did get all those larges out this week too. So, we'll do 400. Yeah,
400. We got 600 people watching. Get us to 400 for the plays and the gear. So 400 in terms of the likes, and hit the subscribe.
You guys are going to veto all my plays though, because they're all just chalky plays.
Well, the veto has been used once on I believe it was title, right, Tony?
He wanted to play Jokic. If you say Jokic, we're vetoing it.
Yeah.
Can I say Embiid tonight?
Oh hell no! No, that's instant. That's like that doesn't even need to go to the veto. That doesn't even go to a vote. That's just immediately disregarded.
The best part about that night too was it was when Jokic went for like 77 and
he smashed. I remember that. He was so tilted.
Oh, it's funny. All right, next game we have the Rockets. We have the Jazz. 228 total. Jazz favored by 18.5, and that is because no John Wall, no Oladipo, no Christian Wood, no PJ Tucker, no Daniel House. And first off, who the hell does PJ Tucker think he is? Like, that's bullshit. I mean, that is absolute bullshit to say he's just not playing for this team anymore. Screw him. I hope nobody trades for him. That pisses me off. That situation just not right. The interesting one here, I mean, which it doesn't change a lot, but they've listed David Nwaba as questionable. He's supposed to get surgery on his hand, and they said they'd only use him in emergency situations, but he can't do anything with the basketball. So no idea what's going on with that situation. Would not let that dictate, your place. And I definitely do not roster him. This Mason Jones guy, they are attempting to call up, I believe. I don't know the official status on him. They got him on a 10-day contract, so I assume he plays. I don't know. Maybe you guys have more information on that. And then on the Jazz side, I mean, this is a tough spot to really invest in any Jazz players. I mean, yes, you're going to want some Rockets in your lineup, but Jazz, as is, very difficult team for DFS purposes when they're at full strength, and they're at full strength tonight. So I have a hard time clicking any of these names. It is a very clear blowout spot. Obviously, that's not earth-shattering news or anything, but this is a spot they should obviously win in. So with the Rockets, Kevin Porter Jr. is going to be probably the highest owned guy on the slate. He is, after the big game at 40 fantasy points last night, he's 3-2 on DK. FanDuel did a good job. They got him up to 4.9, still not good enough. Martin Jr. is 3K on DK. He is 3.5K on FanDuel. Very strong play. He'll play a ton of minutes. Sterling Brown will play a ton of minutes. Jayshawn Tate, Patton, this Lamb guy got run. I mean, all these guys are in play. Ben McLemore also in play. So go to you first, AP. How are you breaking down the situation with the Rockets? How many is too many? And then, are you interested in any of these Jazz players with this big spread, with the Jazz being favored by 18.5?
Yeah, I mean, here's the other thing, too, to think about tonight is the Jazz, they're looking at this game, too. They could easily, come out and just, they could suck right out of the gate. And, these Rockets guys could be playing – playing with a chip on their shoulder. And so they could land the first punch. I'm really interested in McLemore, KPJ, and Kenyon Martin. They're all 3.5K and less. So I'm very interested in starting my builds with those three guys and then seeing what else I can make work on this slate. I think it's going to be a very popular route tonight, but I feel very confident in it. Sterling Brown, in these spots earlier in the season, he's been one of the guys that's, he's run point. He has the ball in his hands quite often. He's 4-5. I have interest in him. And it's very simple. These guys are going to get a ton of minutes. It doesn't matter that they're 18, 20-point dogs. They could be 30-point dogs. All I care about is the minutes they're going to get. and the usage that they're going to get. And a guy like Kevin Porter Jr., I mean, we know what he could do. He looked very good when he played for the Cavs. He tore up the G League. I think he's going to come in tonight. I think he's going to put up a big number. Macklemore, he can hit threes. And, Kenyon Martin, he can get rebounds and stuff. He's 3K. I mean, and you can play him at the power forward spot. That's all I care about on DraftKings because it opens up the center spot. It opens up the utility spot. So I'm using this to prioritize my roster from a roster construction standpoint. That's how I'm using these guys. I don't feel the need to run it back with anyone. I mean, the Jazz even have Erzan Ilyasova now, who's going to take up minutes. I mean, they have a lot of bodies in there. I don't feel a need to force a run back with any of these guys. Like I saw, like Gobert's going to get ownership. Mitchell's going to get ownership. I don't know. I don't feel the need to play any of those guys. Kind of curious to see where you guys are at.
Yeah, I mean, you have to imagine one or two of those guys probably has a pretty solid game, but it's going to be hard. I don't want to get in the business of picking and choosing these guys. We'll go to you first, or not first. We'll go to you now, Big T. Thoughts here on the Rockets' value, and I mean, do you have any interest in any of these Jazz players in the blowout spot?
Yeah, I mean, Houston. I mean, are they really? They're only going to have like 7 dudes. It looks like, just counting the numbers. Assuming Nwaba is hurt and Tucker's not going to play. I mean, I only count 7 dudes. So, yeah, they might have guys on the bench, Nwaba on the bench in Jersey and doesn't play or something just so they can have the 8. But, man, I don't care who you are. Like AP said, it could be anybody. If there's only 7 dudes, they have to play all those minutes, and they're cheap. So, yeah, the 2 most popular plays on the slate are going to be KPJ and Kenyon Martin Jr., and I don't really see a way around it because they're both going to play in the 30s minutes-wise. Even if they're awful, which is definitely in the realm of outcomes. I mean, they could be awful. They're still going to get you 18, 20, I don't know, like somewhere in there. For min price, that's not going to kill you at all. And I don't know, like it's tough to get around them, which really makes the slate interesting because like we've talked about, everyone is playing the same team. I mean, everyone knows the same guys. So how do we get different is the question. I'm not sure it's with these 2 guys, though, because I just don't see a way that these 2 don't end up on the winner. One of the paths that these 2 don't end up on the winner is what? The first game, the Washington game blows out and Westbrook and Embiid don't get there. They get in like the 40s. Jokic doesn't have a big game. He gets in the 40s. If all those studs don't get there, these guys won't be on the winner. Like it just won't happen. So that's a path where it doesn't happen. You go all mid-range and then you get all your mid-rangers in the 30s and 40s. You're going to outscore the team that does that in the middle. But obviously that is tough sledding because we expect the Stars to crush tonight in the spots they're in. In Utah, I wanted to make this note just because when Pensac did, our boy from Run Pure, Pensac that's always in the chat, he keeps playing Donovan Mitchell in these spots. And finally I picked up on it because he almost chased me down 2 of my wins. They still play these dudes in blowouts. They'll be up 25 points and all of a sudden Mitchell comes back in the 4th or something. They just run these dudes out. And yeah, they have a lot of bodies. I'm probably not going to play them, but I do think you could play like a Donovan Mitchell. His floor is super safe against this scrub team. And if the game somehow stays close, then he could totally crush and get you a low-owned just crusher. So the dude in the chat too, where's the dude? He said, Mr. Patrick Rice, if I gave you Houston plus 35, would you take action? Absolutely. Send it over. I'll take 35 in Houston. You got yourself a bet, my man. I'll take the 35 ball.
Yeah, I would take that too. I would love to get in on that.
Yeah, if you want
I can see this game staying closer than people think. I mean, you see it all the time in the NBA.
Always happens.
If you want 3 pieces of action, I'm definitely interested.
35 points.
It'd be even better when we still lose. Take the 35.
Just to add to that point, I mean, you look at Donovan Mitchell, and there has not been many times this season where he's played under 30 minutes. And the Jazz were on that run where they're beating some teams, where they're blowing out teams.
He was coming in like up 30. He would still come back in, and it was unbelievable.
Yeah, very strong point there. I mean, I pulled up the game log, and you have to go back like 20 games like 20 games before he played less than 30, and it was like 27 minutes. So
and it might have been fouls. Like how many foul trouble did he have that game, or who knows?
Yeah, it was a game. I mean, the last one, it was a game against like the Golden State Warriors, and for some reason in my head, I think it was like an extreme blowout where it was like just a massive blowout. So, that's a pretty solid point there for sure. All right, let's head on to the last game. We have the Pacers. We have the Lakers, 217 total. Lakers favored by 4.5. Lakers will continue to be without Anthony Davis in this game. On the Indiana side, pretty much back to full strength for the most part. We have Karis LeVert expected to make his debut tomorrow, so that will change things around a little bit. Let's go to you first, Big T. Your thoughts here on this Pacers-Lakers game?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, right out of the gate, LeBron is going to be pretty low owned, I would imagine, with all the studs going early. He came out with the quote. It's basically saying it's go time, second half of the year. We've seen this for years where LeBron coast, and then when it's time to go with LeBron. So his quote was basically he's ready to get it going. So I have to take notice. Again, I think those earlier plays are better plays, without a doubt. They're better plays, but we can't just play the dead chalk on every team and think we're going to ship a tournament or something. It's just not going to happen. So I think LeBron is a very, very good pivot off of, say I play Jokic and LeBron instead of Westbrook and Embiid. I think I'm pretty different fading Westbrook and Embiid and playing these two guys. And you get the late hammer against Indiana. And I think LeBron's going to come in pretty crazy low owned. So I don't hate it. And all you're rooting for when you do that is just for Philly, that game to blow out. Immediately when that game blows out, LeBron becomes the best play on the slate almost. And he's in the late game. So I like that a ton. And then the Indiana side, it's always really the same guys for me. But we got the same problem all of a sudden. Like Sabonis falls in that Levine and Zion bracket for me, where 9,900, it just feels heavy to me when they have a lot of these guys in there. I don't know. Like, I mean, he could get there. We've seen 60s from him at times, but I can't pay 9,900 for Sabonis when we can get all those other guys for the same price range. I just can't do it. Brogdon, I mean, not to take a victory lap. We've already talked about this a ton, but I can't victory lap it anyways, because I freaking played Brogdon more than anybody, and he always sucks. I always play him, and he always sucks. So I'm putting him in the Zion bucket with me. Don't let me play freaking Brogdon anymore. I'm done.
Let me talk a little bit to your points. Brogdon on FanDuel is 6.6K.
Yeah, and it pissed me off on that last slate because he was that cheap, and he was the one that killed me.
So this is what happens with Brogdon when you roster him, all right? His first rotation starts out super slow. Second rotation, a little bit better. He's at halftime with about 14 fantasy points. Like, okay, you know what? He can kind of salvage in the second half. Second half starts, he gets to about, I'd say 22, 23 after his rotation in the third quarter. He comes back in the fourth quarter and gets to about 31, 32 fantasy points. You're like, you know what? He almost gets there. He almost got there. Whatever it may be. He's disappointed me a ton this year. 6.6 is a
just price his ass up so we don't have to play him. Like, stop, FanDuel.
Yeah. And then the other guy, Sabonis, much better on FanDuel too, 8.9K. Better price tag obviously there than DK. And then LeBron, I agree with you. Like, he's run really bad since Anthony Davis has gone out. There's been a couple games where he was just full smashing, and then the game turns into a blowout. There's a couple of those situations right before the All-Star break. He could have been on a monster run there. Going into the All-Star break, he had a 67 fantasy point game against Portland, played 24 minutes against Golden State. That was a massive blowout. I mean, that was a big-time blowout. Got 41 fantasy points in 24 minutes. And then the last game before the break, he played 38 minutes and got 60 fantasy points against the Suns. If this game stays close, which it should, to me, he's right there with those other studs. I mean, yes, I think the ceiling's probably higher for Embiid. Yes, I think it's higher for Jokic. But you're talking substantially lower ownership here with LeBron James. If anything goes a little wonky in those games, in that Denver game or that Philadelphia game, you're sitting with LeBron James at 10:30 Eastern, you're going to feel pretty damn good. So I really like LeBron in tournaments tonight. I'm glad you kind of said that. I don't think the ownership is going to be that high.
We'll talk a ton about the bedside on these DFS shows, but my God, I'll give you a winner. Every once in a while, I give a winner on this show. I don't understand how the Lakers are favored by 5 in this game. The Lakers shouldn't be favored by 5 over anybody that's decent like Indiana. Give me Indiana plus the points and the money line because, like Hoop said, I think this game stays close, and I think Indiana could easily win, so I'll take the 5 points.
Yeah. All right, AP, what are your thoughts here on this one?
Yeah, you guys, said it very nicely. I agree with you on the Pacers take too. I just cannot bet this team. I am 0-22 on betting.
I think I'm like 0-22 with them too. Yeah. They never
on the Pacers. I never get them right. If I bet over, it goes under. If I bet under, it goes over. So I made a rule, and I got to stick with it. I cannot bet this team. DraftKings did us a service or disservice. I mean, I'm not paying $8K for Brogdon. I'm not paying $10K for Sabonis. I think, and then it's like the peripheral pieces on the Lakers side. Why are you going to play? Why are you going to pay? You're not going to play KCP. You're not going to play Markieff Morris, any of those guys when we have the situation that we have with the Rockets. Or even the Magic, we got pieces there where we know they're going to get a ton of minutes. So, don't overthink it. I think the interesting play for me is, do I go LeBron and try to, make the double centers work? Or do I go Westbrook and try to make the double centers work? I mean, I'm being very transparent with my build route. The value is all at the guard position tonight. We got plenty of point guard value. We got plenty of shooting guard value. I think you'll be able to make it work. I love the LeBron mention. I think it's very interesting. It's a very interesting hammer. The only thing I'm thinking about in this game is LeBron James. And I guarantee I will not be playing anyone else in this game outside of him.
Yeah, no, I like that. We seem to all be in agreement with this slate. It's a pretty straightforward slate, like we said in the opening. I think it's a don't get cute slate. Play the guys. Look for little hedges, within your builds. All right, Big T, are you in a good mood or a bad mood today?
Oh man, a great mood. Anytime I can see your 2 mugs on here.
All right, well, yeah, I don't blame you. I don't blame you at all. But 360 on the likes. Are we going to throw Chad a bone? A couple days.
Yeah, it's going into the weekend. We need some good mojo going.
Yeah. All right. So you didn't get there. I mean, if you haven't hit the like, we're still going to do the plays. We're going to give away a piece of gear. Just if you haven't hit it yet, all I ask is that you hit the like and subscribe. We're not going to hold the plays hostage. We're not going to
one final note before you go into the plays. So just as we were doing the show, because I wanted to get my cores up because I got some stuff going on after this. So I ran all my stuff. It's crazy how my top 2 teams come off without generating any rules. One of them is the team basically we've talked about where you got Jokic and Embiid. The other team with a very similar projection, though, is Westbrook and LeBron without Embiid and Jokic.
Wow.
And it's a very interesting build with a couple mid-range guys in there too. And I'm slightly tempted to do it because, like always, we're full disclosure on here. I want to find a way to get a little different. And the build looks very, very similar. If somehow Westbrook and LeBron even get close to the other two, because with that build, it lets you get a little bit better in the mid-range in a few spots where it's just a different build. If they can get anywhere near Jokic and LeBron and Embiid, that team is very nice, and it's going to be contrarian.
What the Wizards just pulled out the most dreaded thing in my pet peeve.
Game time decision.
Game time decision, and not only game time decision, but game time decision. And if Beal doesn't play, this guy starting, and it's your boy AP,
Big Sexy,
Big Sexy, your boy Big Sexy. I freaking hate when teams do that. If he can't play, this is the guy that starts. It makes me just assume that guy's out, which probably is the case, but I better be careful saying that. If over-under's in the chat, I'm done. So I'm gonna retract that statement, whether I think Beal plays or not. I don't want to get pounded. All right, we're gonna go to the plays. What was the name again? The hair gel one. AP.
There's something about Mary.
There's something about Mary hair gel play of the day, right? Is that it?
K-Foul.
So
I like it.
We're going to AP.
That makes sense.
with the something about Mary hair gel.
We're going to me for. Oh man.
Yeah, you ready or no? I can go first. I'm ready.
I think I'm gonna get rejected. I think I'm gonna be vetoed like 6 times. Like all my plays. I feel like a cash game. I should go play cash games tonight. This feels like the most cash slate ever for me. Like
well, the problem is everyone will end up having the same thing, so it's really not that fun. So.
All right. Can I say Ben McLemore? Like 900 people in the chat said it was bad.
I can definitely say Ben McLemore.
That is approved.
There we go.
Yes. All right. So the something about Mary hair gel play of the day, Ben McLemore. Yes, that is. And Kevin Love is playing, by the way. So that for me takes all Cavs out of consideration.
He's going to hit 4 threes. You heard it here first. 4 threes.
And Darius Garland ruled out. So there's that news too. So right before we get off. All right. For the 4X play of the day, I'm going to a guy. He's been in this a couple times, and he's gonna get his 3rd chance. I think he's gotten there both times as well. It's Ja Morant in that first game. I don't think anyone's going to be on him. 8.1K, and we're starting to see that upside out of him. A few 50 fantasy point games before the break, 58, 51. 44, I believe 2 nights ago. So Ja Morant, 4X play of the day. Really like him in tournaments. Pair him with Jokic. Love that. All right. We're going to Big T for the official Friday night workbench play of the day.
I mean, much like you guys, I mean, it's tough tonight to be different. And that's why I wanted to run this too, because I always want to give a guy that I'm going to play. And obviously, I mean, we've talked about the studs. I can't give the studs. We've talked about the cheap guys. They're all great plays. I don't want to give those either. So I need to find me a mid-range guy because I need one mid-range guy. Even if you play 3 studs, you're going to need one middle guy. You can't just play all cheapies or the build doesn't work. So either you need 1 or 2 mid-rangers. And the one mid-ranger that sticks out to me, I always talk about it, wings against the Nuggets. Dillon Brooks at 5,200 gets hot sometimes. And who knows, maybe he gets hot tonight. He shot the ball 20 times and 19 times, 2 of the last 3 games. Went for 50 and 31. If he somehow has that game like 2 games ago where he went 7 for 20, got 50 fantasy points, man, it is going to be a good night. And I'm not a big Dillon Brooks guy, but he fits the build tonight. And I like the matchup a lot versus Denver. So give me Dillon Brooks as a sneaky workbench play tonight.
Yeah, AP, you spoke about him too a little bit. I think you had mentioned that you have some interest in Brooks a little bit as well. So, sneaky play.
I like it a lot.
Yeah, we're on the Grizzlies, Big T. You got Brooks, I got Morant. I mean,
probably not going to treat us well.
Gonna see Big T 777 tonight or what?
Yeah, let's go. Big T 777 season.
I can almost guarantee you I play LeBron tonight, so I
like that call too.
I don't think it's going to be 777 tonight.
Big T was Big T 777 after round one of PGA. I'll tell you that much.
I haven't looked yet today, but people weren't screenshotting me all day. So
that can only mean one thing. That can only mean one thing.
Dude, we've talked about it, but man, all day long, people screenshotting me. Like, don't screenshot me on Thursday, people.
Yeah. All right. The winner of the gear. We have a nice comment here that is going to get the gear tonight. It is it's a heartfelt message too. So it's always nice to hear some positive feedback from people. Sean Blake, having a rough work day / work week. Listening to you guys put me in a better mood for the weekend. Thanks for lifting the old spirits up, fellas. And I'm gonna tear up a little bit. That's a nice message. We hope, Sean, that you have a good weekend and things turn up for you here on the work front. But to reach out to Big T or info@RunPeer Sports, and we'll get you a piece of gear in the mail. So Sean Blake is the winner of the gear. Also, our boy Sean Nizzle still in the chat. We got to get the finished product. Another picture of that. That was that tattoo's looking strong, my man. So love the tattoo. Thanks for doing that. We're going to get on out of here. For Big T, for AP, I'm Hoop. Good luck tonight in your contest.